SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity.
What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. My name is Neil with Simpson Family Jeeps, SFJ 4x4, and I am in Grandma's couch studio.
Are you sure?
Very sure. I'm also sure that we have a full group today. Jeffrey is not making a mad dash to the hospital. And
That was a long day.
yeah, I'm sure it was, and we're glad to have you back with us. We obviously Jeffrey, the Italian stallion, the producer, and
You got over on the other couch there, the mad scientist Scott Brown.
Yep.
yeah, I sound so thrilled. That's because we are in, I don't know, the 14th year of subarctic temperatures here on the beautiful shores of Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
Cold is not Scott's friend, but he will never move because he just knows how to keep moving forward in life, puts his head down, just kind of toils along. So besides that, we are glad that Jeffrey is back and able to join us. His child had the sickness, the yuck that's been going around, and fortunately he has made a recovery, and we're happy for that. So
Yeah. We got Nate in the comments talking in German, and we got Mike saying good morning. We got Jagga Jeeper saying good morning, and Bill McWilliams saying good morning. Brian saying good morning, and he's asking how Nate's doing, but Nate is only talking German at the moment, so I don't know that anybody can understand him. I mean, I can see that he says good morning, but
Nate, just because I don't understand the words you're speaking doesn't mean I don't have any less love for you, and that I can't appreciate you any differently. So we can come together on that, and I appreciate and love our Jeep family for joining us. You too, if you're listening to your ear holes at a slightly later date than this exact here and now, can join us roughly every Monday morning at 10:19 a.m. live on the YouTubes or the Book of Faces. And we encourage you to do so. Jump into the comments, share, communicate, and, express all things fun, automotive, and Jeep related.
now I don't speak German, but I am pretty sure that Nate also called Joe out for being late, and then Joe jumps in and says he's here.
Awesome. Good morning to everyone who is joining us. A lot going on. Of which I've just kind of had a mental head fart, and I don't know. I forgot I was going to share something with folks, and now it's gone.
I don't know.
I told you weren't sure.
If you stay for the end for the weekend updates, I'll have a big announcement.
Is one of those waters over there mine?
This one.
You think?
Yeah.
We're just sharing water now. So we are back in the studio together. We are going to be talking about some of the creature comforts of our automobiles in the winter. I remember what our big announcement was, Jeffrey.
Oh,
Well, you printed a sign for it.
I did. I'm glad you remembered. It's upside down.
Not that anybody at home can
I
actually
was gonna
see
say,
that.
like,
but
no one can see
we need
that.
somebody to go up to the screen.
got
to the
a
camera.
notification. Oh, here we go. I'm going to awkwardly do it.
Yes, awkwardly shove it in front of the camera. Don't get too close so we can't see it.
Oh, it's whited out. It's totally gone.
Put it behind the light. It'll be fine.
It's too close.
50,000 podcast downloads as of this morning. So
Any of them in our favorite?
No, none of them were in the Arctic or
Dang.
Antarctica, whatever. They weren't
I
there.
think since we've had so many 0 days and negative days, we should just call ourselves the Arctic.
We should just count ourselves.
And therefore, we're in all
I'm
the
pretty sure
continents.
there's penguins walking across the lake right
Pretty
now.
much.
So. But yeah, so thank you to all of our listeners for getting us to 50,000 downloads before we even hit 200 episodes. I mean, that's incredible. So
that's really the catch right there, is the volume of downloads to the number of episodes to the longevity of the existence of the podcast. And that is such a tremendous thanks to all of you who prioritize this particular podcast as part of your infotainment. And we are just so incredibly thankful. And that's specifically from a listening platform metric. That does not include any of the YouTubes or the lives or anything like that. So if you're not involved in those manners and you just access us on social mediums, you're not actually even counted in that 50,000. You're just as important, but that particular number metric is specifically from our streaming platform provider. Yes. And so that's a pretty significant celebratory accomplishment for a bunch of schmoes who work on Jeeps for a living.
We need a shirt.
We do need
that.
a shirt.
We should get a shirt.
Okay. So, as much as I would love to entrust the Savage to design us a shirt, which I'm sure would be spectacular, I also do an all call to our listening family to submit to us some ideas. Mm-hmm. And you can submit that to us at contact, CONTACT, at sfj4x4.com, or just head over to sfj4x4.com and you'll find it on the contact submission form, or just Google Simpson Jeeps. I've been trying, I'm amazed how many vendors I talk to, and I do the whole spiel of Simpson, and then we're a Jeep company, and then when I go to and I say Simpson Family Jeeps, and I try to break down Simpson SFJ 4x4. It's amazing how many people are trying to read my email or domain name back to me, and they're like JFS, and I'm like Sierra Foxtrot Juliet. I'm sorry that Simpson Family Jeeps is too confusing. Let me use the phonetic alphabet, but yet that's almost a lost cause on today's society as well. Whatever.
Yes.
Anywho's a what's it. We do need a shirt, and I encourage people to submit some ideas to us at contact at Sierra Foxtrot Juliet 4xray4.com. Hope that means something to you. Don't spell that out. Maybe we should buy that domain. I might buy that domain next. I might buy. Don't anybody go squat on that. Gracious, but I might buy Sierra Foxtrot Juliet.
Just redirect it back to the.
Just redirect it back to us.
That's great.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks. You were part of that party. All right, we are going to be talking about Jeep Creature Comforts. And next week is President's Day. We will be doing a podcast. We are going to be talking tech. Last week, we talked kind of a social emotional piece about Jeepers communing together, as they often do. They grow apart and they come back together. They grow apart and come back together. That is human nature. So this week, we're going to bore you to death talking about how your heater works.
Mm-hmm. and why you might want one.
And I need people to absolutely recognize that many of my earliest Jeeps did not have functioning heaters. And in fact, as of just recent, with some of my vintage wheelers, my vintage Jeeps, I actually
removed them on the trail.
I removed them on the trail. So I'm really excited about this topic. Additionally, there's a lot of people who don't understand this. Mm-hmm. Now, as I have been doing, we have a strong base in Florida whom have,
well, they still need heaters because
so right now, and I forgot to mention
50 degrees is too cold.
I forgot to mention this, but I have been having the best time. And I feel like I can talk about these people on air. I haven't shouted them out recently. I'm having the best time communicating with the Passanders regarding the temperature in just north of Miami in a town called Jupiter, which is a little further than it's about hour and a half or something, Miami. But contextually, it's down there, And the fact, folks, that iguanas, and you've probably seen this on national news,
they fall out of trees.
Yeah. They're falling out of trees. Left and right. Left and right. They're freezing, and they're so frozen they can't move, and so then they lose their grip and they fall out of the tree. Mm-hmm. And if they sit frozen like that for 8 hours, they die apparently. Oh. sad. So there's these crazy videos of just these frozen block iguanas that if you're like an animal trapper or something, they're just pulling them out of truck beds, like by the truck bed full, because apparently they're like our squirrels here. Iguanas there are like squirrels here. And so we've been having a great time sharing ridiculous content back and forth from Florida. Now, we have other customers who have indoor heated swimming pools, and the sky is gorgeous, and they're luxuriously swimming in their swimming pool, and they too are harassing me, James. But, whatever.
Yeah.
Us... I thought about it last night while I was walking my dogs, and their snot was freezing to their face while I was just taking them on their potty break.
Yeah,
and being thankful that we have heat. But the manner in which heat works, specifically in our JK Wranglers 2007 to 2018.
You jump ship. You have to start at the beginning.
I'm just going to say that this is highly pertinent because those heater system designs suck.
What are you going to say? That you snuggled the horses? Is that how it starts?
I've actually been thinking about this since last week.
Dead!
I think it was quite the culture shock when you were used to walking on horses.
Pop!
Or
Mic
riding
drop!
horses.
I'm dead!
And the horse had its own heater. So if you got too cold, you could just snuggle your horse.
There it is.
There it is. It reminds me of that scene in this traumatic scene in Star Wars where that thing died and he gutted it and he crawled inside. That lives rent free in my brain.
Yeah.
They did a good job of portraying that it stunk as well.
Yeah. I mean, I must have watched that.
You couldn't smell film, but you could smell that scene.
At 5 to 7 years old, I watched that, and it's lived rent free in my headspace for decades at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you should take it that far. But anyway.
Yeah.
So then you got your first vehicles, and you're like, it's metal, it's cold. We don't want to be cold. And sadly, we started off with just like draft heaters off the manifold.
We didn't know how to create heat. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
we didn't know how to create good heat in the cabin.
And that was
Tried
such
a bunch of things.
a crappy design that we literally went to. A Stromberg was one of the main brands I know of. And they
you
usually-
jump ship too fast, right? I need you to talk about the fact that people were actually had like little potbelly stoves in their vehicles.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I
Calm
was
down.
going to say, you're too far ahead of them in history.
Well, you went to Stromberg.
Anyway, and they would literally divert gasoline off of your carburetor, and you would burn it in your car.
That was okay.
That
That's
was
safe.
That was the step up. That was the upgrade over the manifold draft heater, which not fun. My 36 factory had a manifold heater. That's all it had. It had this little ductwork that went off the passenger side manifold, and it had a little door, and you wished the heat to waft in from the outside into there. I don't know how in the world you ever defrost a windshield or do anything you need to do back then.
That's my number one biggest issue, wheeling without heat. Or
Cleaning the glass off.
Is clearing the glass off.
Yeah.
Steaming up glass, you oftentimes, if the cabin is reasonably sealed enough, that's why if you're going to do winter wheeling with no heat, just sans doors and top. But if it's enclosed enough, you're going to frost up or fog up your windows, and there's almost no way to clear them off effectively.
So that tells you, like 1936, the best we could do was set your vehicle on fire with gasoline.
Set your vehicle on fire with gasoline.
Or have it waft at you from the manifold. So the next upgrade, and this was into the 40s, you had an idea of like, well, if they have a radiator and those get hot, maybe we have a little radiator inside the car and we can pipe some coolant through that. Mm-hmm. And then, it would be even better upgrade because there was ones without fans.
Sure.
It was just a radiator, and it was just wafting
true radiant heat
off. And you had little doors that you would open or shut to try to make it waft more. So then someone bright was like, hey, we should put a little fan on this.
Yes.
And
which was not an electrical wiring nightmare either.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Electrical hazard.
Yeah. But and again, I don't think people realize heaters were separate things like that for a long time. You
Aspects. They
literally
were separate aspects because they were optional.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. I mean, and this is my own little peculiarity, and to jump in and kind of build off what you're saying. I love the drive-in movie theater speakers, the Art Deco style that defined a drive-in movie speaker. It has this sexy lines and curvature and technology, because you would show up and it would be hanging on a pole, and ideally you would bring it into your window, and it was this cool looking unit. Well, heaters
also are like that.
were also like that. And
Yeah.
so I went through a phase. I admit to you all now, in a vulnerable space, that I am a recovered heater hoarder because I never actually restored them. But I thought I would like to restore them. But there are people out there who are restoring these optional heaters that you could optionally plumb into your vehicle.
And I did that on the 36 project. I got a Tropic Air
Okay.
from the late 40s.
Does it
early
have the
50s.
most beautiful script writing on a little
It has a
metal
little,
tag?
little stainless badge on it, and it has Tropic Air all in its little little
They're
font.
so cool.
It has the round heater core,
Okay.
which I don't know what you do to replace that.
Woof. Copper piping.
Luckily, mine holds water.
Okay.
It had
Not a great deal of pressure on your system. Your system's probably a 4 to 6 PSI system.
8 tops.
Wow. Okay.
So I was able to find a newer fan. Thankfully, things, there hasn't been a big development in heater technology there for 100 years. So I was able to find a 12-volt fan and put in there. I still haven't wired the fan, though.
Well, you have to drive the vehicle in the cold.
That's true.
It's
It does work just wafting at you, though.
Nice.
So that's got that
and so
going for it.
here's the thing, folks. You actually used to have this shoebox. That heaters were about the size of a shoebox, maybe a little smaller. Sometimes maybe a little bigger.
Ford standard heaters, when they finally went, hot water heaters, they were very boring. They were just a little box.
Right, but I'm
doors.
saying these optional ones that
Yeah.
people plumbed into their vehicles in an accessory fashion would just kind of protrude into your cabin space with you.
Yes.
And you would run some hot water hose. You'd run hoses, and you would tap into your cooling system in kind of a underwhelming fashion. They were not designed that way. They were an accessory. They were an aftermarket accessory.
Lots of cars didn't even have pipes on the motor for them.
Right.
You would literally drill a hole in the side of your radiator hose.
Yep.
And there was a special little adapter that went in there, and you screwed a nut on it.
Yep.
And you hoped it to seal.
And I mean, it was a ambient water flow, right? So as we talk about, you were just kind of wishing water to come into the heater and then return. I love the concept of it as far as just human ingenuity, and the fact that for a lot of vehicles made, again, we go back to that earliest civilian CJ vehicle. It was a tractor. It wasn't meant to have a heater.
Right.
Right. You were, heats in the tools.
Yeah.
So as automotive technology progresses, and now we're using our vehicles in a greater capacity,
Yep.
so changes our heaters. So I get back.
And we saw more standardizing in heaters, more with the Willys wagons and the Willys trucks. First, again, like everything, that's where the technology gets dropped, and then our soft top vehicles get it behind. I also wanted to mention Harrison Heaters. That was another name brand that was making stuff that kind of became part of GM, if I'm not mistaken, but originally was a separate entity, and you could buy that from your catalog, your J.C. Whitney catalog, your Sears catalog, and cuss at it while you fought with it in the driveway.
Yes.
In any regard, at some point into the CJ5 market, we decided that we should just have heaters. And I'm going to gloss over many years, but something I thought would be interesting for people is because CJs, at least the ones iconic that we think about, like 72 to 86, we all kind of assume they're kind of the same. There is so many little changes over the years. And the first CJ heaters, the blower motor is inside, has a really weird drain on it. Nothing like what you're used to if you're into the late 80s CJs. And because of that, also the heaters are still not very good. They are actually a couple speed motor, which means it has different windings for different speeds, and it has a different style switch. If you didn't actually get to a resistor, which if you don't know what a resistor is for, you have different windings in coils, and the time that the power has to go through that is how fast or slow the motor goes, which then we can just have a wire going to the motor. And that is how our later 78 and older CJs are like. And so if you have a 77 and older, you actually have a more old style heater. And working on it's a pain in the tuchus.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Part availability is also low.
Yes.
It's not ideal.
No. You can retrofit it over to the newer style if you're a mad scientist. May have or may not have done that to a 76. Just because. But anyway, so we get finally into the YJs. We're pretty much standard like the heater that was in the 83, 82, the 86, except for instead of having hard cables that move doors, we went to a vacuum motors operating those, which I'm sure everyone was upset about when that happened. They like to physically feel the mechanics of it.
Jeep people love the physical input to it's a command, not a request.
Yes.
Right? And that's
when it's shovable, they're uphill if possible.
Yep. Jeep owners love commands, not requests. It's a unspoken rule of the Jeep market.
And the last thing that really needed upgraded on the 82, 83 to 86 was the blower motor was this anemic, small, like barely blew at you kind of thing. They did fix that in the YJ. They went to a larger motor. And I also think it's funny, for years we've heard the Blazer motor upgrade. You would order a blower motor fan from or a 73 to 77 Chevy Blazer.
Which I think is funny because I'm going to jump to the comments and Dave from Geauga Jeepers is actually talking about he had an old school bus heater in his K5 to get his K5 hot. So we are actually using a K5 motor in our Jeep applications.
Yes.
Because it was anemic for his K5,
but
it's the right size for the Jeeps, right? This is the peculiarity of
and because engineers, we have to actually open the hole up in the firewall because the motor is so large it won't fit through there. And you have to take the magnet off of it, which I'm not quite sure what that even.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll just leave it off anyway. The nice thing is electrical
parts not needed.
Electrical
Made
is
it
the
better.
same. The other advantage that people do not think about that helped the YJ is because we finally got in the fuel injection. They run at a hotter temperature, around 190 degrees to 210. And it actually really helped the heater.
Well, and that's, we are always living in a ripple effect of information, and arguably, I've encountered so many people from the old school carbureted days when a vehicle was intended to run at a cooler, that actually keeping it cool, dense air, and
180 degrees, 200
175
was
to 180 was this kind of this target. And of course, when that's the case, by the time that you get that radiant water pushing through, it's hard to cool stuff off.
Yes.
Right? Or to warm stuff up, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's hard to warm stuff up. It is very cool. It's cooling off quicker than it's warming up because the temperature is different. As you mentioned, as we get into the 190 to 210 years, which I'd like to lump the YJ and TJ together for purposes of.
I think for this conversation, I agree with that.
And I need the TJ owners out there to unbunch unwad your undies. But
put
understand,
the pitchfork down.
Yeah, understand that the YJs and the TJ.
We're talking about an HO-esque 4-liter application.
Yeah, the heater core, and this is how I always try to break it down for people, and all of this application it's just a little radiator, and it's in your dash now.
Yes.
Right? And so they move to a plastic box.
Well, they
plastic box construction in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously in the 60s we still had steel box heater construction.
Yeah.
We moved to the plastic. We start progressing into a design that underwhelmingly, and I understand I'm doing a gross generalization for our listening audience, that 72 to 2006.
You had a plastic box with doors in it that had a heater core, and your actuation somehow moved the doors.
Yep.
So that you directed your airflow at the windshield, or at you, or at the floor.
Yep. They
Or
were
any
really,
combination of which.
Combination, huh?
whatever.
And TJ's had to figure this out. I will give you that, because every, like 97 was one control, 98 was a different control, 99 was a different control. I don't understand why we had such problems figuring it out.
Well, because we went from that cable actuation, as you mentioned, that was affirming, other than something binding or getting sticky,
Yeah.
to a request of a vacuum system.
I think it's because the YJs were sliders.
Correct.
And then we went to, 97 was a slider.
Correct.
And then 98 was more knobbish.
Correct.
By 99, we were all knobs.
Yep. And the problem is there was actually electrical resistance issues with those switches themselves in some of the earliest iterations. And so we actually saw...
When the switch burns down, you just get more heat.
Yes. So, and that was actually a super common HVAC in TJs, and in an era of TJs was incredibly challenging. Now, in the same juncture amongst the TJ, we actually got into some proprietary, we started to understand antifreeze a little better, a little different. And so this is when we start playing with some different chemicals, because of course, earliest iterations of radiators technology, you're just using water.
Let me pause you for 2 seconds. Just so that someone doesn't get mad. It's probably, in Mexico or Cuba or somewhere it's warm. In the YJ, we did get the option of AC as well. In like Laredos and stuff. I still don't completely understand. But anyway, and there is an awesome company, shout out to them, in Florida called Jeep Air. If you do need air conditioning in your vintage Jeep, they're the place to go.
Absolutely. Wealth of knowledge.
Wealth of knowledge. But anyway, Neil's right. By we get into the late TJ years, we start using Mopar, reddish, orange antifreeze.
Yep. And we start playing with these chemicals in order to help us with the swing of heat and cooling dissipation.
Well, you know what I think it was is someone in the mothership must have rode in a semi or had enough rub elbow with a semi. Maybe their brother-in-law was a semi guy, and they're like, we have coolant that lasts 100,000 miles.
That's right.
And the guy was like,
yeah,
maybe that gold green stuff isn't good anymore. Maybe I need a longer life antifreeze.
So they developed this antifreeze that that has a problem with playing with others. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And
GM did it first, and the orange is not Dexcool, so you don't have to be triggered when you see a non-green, a more of a reddish color, because Dexcool is straight red. That's the gelling stuff, and it is all bad. But we did start to get into that. Well, can I mix my green with my orange and with the red, and that now there's a blue, and it's all this confusion.
A lot of people, and again, living in that ripple effect, you would go to your local Jim Bob garage mechanic, and he'd be like, "Wow, this is good enough," and he'd pour it in, and he would render your cooling system worthless.
At minimum, your 100,000 mile life antifreeze is bupkis.
Yeah,
it's gone now.
Gone. And so we had a series of plugged heater cores in the TJ era as well. Likewise, if you were mixing coolants inappropriately.
And not only that, we went from vacuum to electronic motors moving the doors.
Correct.
Which then started our blend door failure stuff, which, everyone got upset about, and you have to tear half the dash apart to get to, and all that good stuff.
Correct.
I feel like you are a little upset about having to tear apart dashes for that.
So we and the challenge is this was an era of we had something that worked or we perceived was working sufficiently, And then as we attempted to refine it and start to meet greater market demands, people started using their Jeeps. We wanted them to be less drafty in the winter. We wanted our soft tops. And this is the podcast about creature comforts in the cold Arctic. And so I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this same era, we really start to see soft tops intending to seal a little better.
Craziness.
With a little better material. This is...
I'm gonna break it down for you. So YJ tops are basically current Bronco tops. You would get some snow inside. And then the TJ happened, and they were like, we can do better. We can make this about as tight as a drum. And other than the cloth not keeping the cold out, drafts pretty much were gone.
But here's the piece, folks. Prior to, we had simply had either what we considered to be well, first of all, we had canvas back in the day, right? But we went from a canvas top, which had this terrible thermodynamic properties.
And it's permeable. So,
Totes.
So the water gets to the inside and then just wicks away.
Yeah. So we went to vinyl and denim. Okay. So by the mid 2000s, we have this revolutionary product called sailcloth.
Yes.
And sailcloth, I was there.
Yeah.
Right. JK owners, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I promise you, sailcloth.
If you didn't realize, Neil just got in his rocking chair and started rocking. And he's like,
I'm yelling at the kids from my front porch to get off my lawn. Sailcloth was revolutionary. It changed my life.
Yes.
I sailcloth was like,
between that
this is so good.
and making better bow design and better
Yes.
seals, the TJ top just blew any prior soft top out of the water.
Correct. And you could still get, what a lot of what Best Top refers to as their diamond, their diamond material, which is, not.
Which really thinking about it too, what a flex. We got so cocky from 97 to 02. We really figured out the soft top game finally.
Yes.
And then in 03, we're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make a sunroof
We're going to make a sunroof
that
for your
flips
top.
back.
It was so cool.
just meh. Just flick your nose at it.
Because we sealed up the Jeep so well.
Yeah, and not only that, we're going to make a standard on the LJ because we figured this out so good. We can make a big top now that does it too.
Yes. Oh, that's so true.
And you peasant TJ, regular TJ owners don't get it till 06.
Correct. That's so true. So we have this era, right? Because of this flex, because of this push to market for some of these creature comforts. Now, it's important to note we have manual seats, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is manual about them. They do have a flip mechanism kind of ingrained into their bracketry that you don't have to reach underneath of it. And
well, you do once the cable breaks.
Once the cable breaks, but it was supposed to have a nice, easily reachable piece for you to kind of touch the shoulder support.
And we got the fold and tumble rear seats that remove like a minivan. I mean, there was
a lot of ingenuity that made owning a Jeep less utilitarian.
Not only that, just looking at Jeff made me think of it. We got to thick padding on our carpets.
I'm not sure.
From the factory.
Looking at Jeff made you think of thick padding.
Because Jeff is always like, get the carpet out of your Jeep. No Jeep don't need cold carpet.
Yeah.
But I got the LJ and it had that plush, like thick. It was like an inch and a half thick.
Yes, you're right.
Padding in the back.
Right, because you have the jute material underneath of it.
Yeah. And I was like,
and my YJ was happy to have like that.
It was just a piece of cardboard.
Yes.
On the floor. That was it.
Yes.
No
right.
padding at all. And I was like, man, and I grew up hearing my dad, he's from the early Willie's days is what he was exposed to first. It was like, those Jeeps are drafty and those are cold. Yes. And I remember sitting in the LJ when it was, just a couple years old and going, wow, heater's really good.
Yeah.
I'm not getting wet. The snow's not coming in at me. It's pretty quiet. It's a nice place to be. I have a pretty good sound system. I have a factory subwoofer.
It's a pretty nice Jeep.
This is nothing Dad talked about.
Realistically,
I can go through the car wash.
Yeah, you could. Realistically, we had that model Jeep. And as far as my social content is concerned, I struggle to really come up with a term. And I typically call it the doorless, topless model, right? Because you can't call a Willys a Wrangler. I know that some people do for lack of knowledge base, but that
If you want to see a vintage guy's eye twitch,
correct. Call his CJ5 a Wrangler, no doubt. But that we had really kind of reached the pinnacle of creature comforts, and I want to make sure I note that you still had zip out plastic vinyl windows on your half doors, but you had the best crank windows we had ever seen in that latter years of TJ production. Okay, so the stage has been set. We have our creature comforts. That's pretty much all we know or care about.
I could plug and play a auto dim rear mirror in my LJ.
Wasn't exactly heat related, but I'm with you.
No, but it was a creature comfort, and I was here for it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry, flipping that mirror, that's just below me.
That's the peasant work. That's peasant work. So here comes 2007, and
break the industry.
Break the industry. Break it. So now this is where those of you who are the more modern day Jeepers, this is where you might give a crap. Because now, and this doesn't even include our most recent versions of the JL platforms, which are stinking spectacular with many power options. We'll see if we get there. The JK, because we want to spend some time on the JK because I think that is a bell curve of our audience, right? And so you have the 3.8 engine aside, the relative aspect of how the heater core plays out, and many of the accoutrements, creature comforts of the JK, while there are minute changes, just like the TJ, we can generalize them, I think.
I mean, the biggest thing, someone that hasn't torn a Jeep apart this far, the TJ, the heater box bolted into the vehicle and the dash went on top of it. Mm-hmm. On a JK, for the ease of assembly on the assembly line, the heater box bolts to the dash, and then the whole assembly, steering column, pedals, everything goes bloop, one unit into the vehicle.
Very different design. Similar location, different design.
So because of that, trying to service it is a little more challenging.
And because of this being the winter edition of this conversation, I'm going to breeze over a couple things, but we got power windows for the first time in the JK.
We did.
Jeep had never, doorless, topless, or optional Jeep had never had power door window options to this point, and we had engineered and figured that out.
And electric locks. So
electric locks
and unlock your doors.
Remote key fob.
I'm just going to go back to the power windows because it has to be said. Why is the switches in the middle?
We've been asking that question since 2007.
I know, but it has
because
to be.
he just had to do Jeff.
He did.
He had to do Jeff. So that they work when
the doors are off. Yeah,
doors.
I know.
The Jeep Liberty did it first.
I'm
just saying, the Jeep Liberty did it first. Somebody who was on the Liberty design team thought, hey, that's a cool feature, and brought it over to the Wrangler. That's my only retort I've ever had to that.
Absolutely.
You have to understand what a KJ Liberty looked like to then understand the Wrangler. Most people don't give a flying fig. I do. I think that you just had a design element.
Whoever designed that must have got like one breadcrumb, and they're like, okay, fine, because of your breadcrumb, we'll let you be part of this design team. And you're like, I'm going to die on this hill, and it has to have switches in the center like the KJ.
Okay, and I'm going to actually take this one step further, even though I really didn't want to. But you know what? Classic Jeff to friggin' derail me. As a person who has spent entirely too much time working on these at a minute, mind-numbingly crappy level that most people would absolutely just pluck their hair out, I can assure you that the earlier models, which we test bed everything on the Grand Cherokee, had individual door modules. So that means we have little supercomputers associated with each and every door to do things like power windows and power door locks.
Yep.
Whereas if I centralize a module for door operations, I now have less moving pieces in the highly technical aspect of making those things work. But I got to be honest, that explanation doesn't translate well to the fun commentary that we see on the YouTube and the shorts. But the fact that you have one module versus many modules, and I've done that personally, so I know that that's part of the process. But I like to put it back to the KJ where they actually test bedded it in the KJ. It worked. As opposed to in the Grand where it had separate door modules that would fail.
I was going to say, I blame the Grand because of all the wiring issues they had and how the windows would just randomly be up and down.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Okay? And so when we move that over to the Wrangler, I can have uno door module versus multiple.
Can we
but
give
again,
them
super boring
a
explanation.
very small data boy, though? At least they got him the hell off the center console.
Yes.
Where you're going to pop and
but that was exactly
stuff
it.
onto it.
And I get flack for trying to be like, hey, they're actually doing good stuff. Everybody just wants to actually be the old man curmudgeon shouting, being like, these aren't real Jeeps and the world we live in is crap. No, I mean, they actually did something good. They learned from the KJ. They pulled it up off the center console, put it onto the dash, realized that the Grand sucked, and they gave it an Uno module to control 4 doors. It's just not a fun explanation, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, I don't know what to tell you. It's the truth, but it's not, internet spicy. So
somewhere around this,
I didn't get to finish my top.
Okay.
You get twill. And I thought sailcloth was good. Twill was like the coup de grace.
Yeah.
You can have twill. All right. That actually comes a little later in the JK production, but let's talk about heaters.
Yeah. Well, just because you said tops. And then we got hard tops with T-tops, which then leaked like sieves because that's what T-tops do.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, my dad as a hardcore, small body Jeep owner desired T-tops. Because, of course, that's what you had in like the 70s and 80s. That was cool. And then the 90s a little bit. T-tops were cool.
And they leaked then and
they leaked
now.
then. And they leak now. And of course, we get these newest Jeep owners like, I don't like that my roof leaks. I'm like, I've been leaking for 50 years.
Yeah.
This is the least it's leaked in 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
All right.
Anyways, so we get into actually the design of the heater is pretty good other than the pain in the butt of it bolting into the dash. Where we start having problems is the core insides gets very compact and snugly, and because of that,
the design element itself is what you're alluding to, because we're actually going to talk about the insides of the insides.
Yeah. So on our older Jeeps, our heater cores were actually larger, so fluid. And
can you explain what a core is for our listening audience who might not be aware of what is in their radiator?
I apologize for this long technical.
Oh,
thing.
God. They're friggin' tubes. Nope. You're not allowed to. I thought this was like, you and I were the only people on the court. We were just, the fact they've fallen down. They were falling down. And you and I were just going down the court.
With plates, and there's fins in between them. And the tubes are what allow the coolant to go side to side. And the fins are what disperse the heat off of it.
That's it. There we go. Thank you. Little tubes.
And the tubes in the older Jeeps are larger, which allowed the bris to go through it easier. So basically,
that was a great explanation.
Our newer Jeeps, they have a smaller.
We've killed half of our audience already. They
have smaller tubes, and because of that, your heater core kind of has a heart attack.
It does,
and gets plugged up.
It gets clogged arteries,
and therefore, then our heat doesn't work as good. And for whatever reason, there's got to be like a flow chart, like a bit, like as large as that wall, with little pins everywhere. But what happens on JK's first, because of course your driver's side heat is the most important.
Mm-hmm.
That fails first.
Yes,
you get lukewarm heat out of your driver's side vents and your center vent, and the passenger side is actually pretty warm.
Yes.
Which maybe in retrospect, that's just because they want your passenger to come with you. I remember early on, my XJ would draft at my wife on the passenger side, and she hated riding.
They were terrible. They were drafty
for that. So maybe they just knew that, and they're like, we must make the passenger happy.
I gotta break this down just as a smidgy bit. But the challenge I see is that the primary HVAC, both your fresh air, a couple of your actuators, your electrical actuators, and the tubing for the purposes of the heater core are actually on the passenger side.
Yeah.
And so what you have is you have this from the firewall, so from the engine through the firewall, it's coming, and most of it is passing through the passenger side. And that's a real estate conversation regarding the steering column, steering shaft, pedal box, pedal assembly.
Yeah.
So
There's more crap on the driver's side.
on the driver's side. So we bring it through the passenger side, and the heater core, as you mentioned, is it's smaller, it's more compact. And it comes in and it hooks around in such a way, and it's a little longer than the.
Well, and also it's important to note too that on the JK we started feeding the heater core in the center of the firewall,
Right.
where TJ was off to the side. So we kind of snake around, and the tubes are a little bit longer. The core is basically in the middle of the dash.
Pretty much right under or behind your stereo. So if you look at your head unit and kind of use your X-ray vision down from there.
And also because now pretty much all JKs were standard with AC, we also had an evaporator we had to stuff in there as well.
Yep.
And make that all work.
We're stuffing 10 pounds in a 5-pound sack.
Pretty much.
Okay. And at this point in time, generically, we refer to this area as the center stack of the vehicle. Okay. Because there are modules, there are the evaporator for your AC, which you also need for defrost, just so we're all on the same page.
Yep.
You need that to be functioning for your defrost to function optimally. We have our heater core in there. We have our stereo in there. And we have a bunch of ducting to help move this air around the cabin. That is all reasonably within our center stack. And to define that one step further on our later model interiors specifically, but I guess even the earlier JKs, there is a HVAC portion of that with the diverters and the blend doors, and that center stack portion, or that portion of the center stack, is a whole and complete assembly, which actually we have seen fail quite a bit at this point as well.
We actually have a problem where the doors have rubber on them to help them seal, and another important note, that's with not so much the 3.8 JKs, but they were getting there. We're running a hotter temperature than we ever did with a 4 liter.
Glad you brought that up.
So 122 to 124 degrees is pretty average, happy temperature for a JK.
Interior.
Cooling temperature.
200?
222 to 224.
You did say 100.
You said 100.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
222, 224. So we're another 10 to 15 degrees
Correct.
hotter than the 4 liter was.
I once really, really, really upset a guy, and I wonder where he's at today. I was at Jeepalooza, so I'm sorry, dude. I mean, if this is you and you hear or see this, he was so fired up because he wanted to put a 180-degree thermostat in his Jeep.
Yeah.
And he absolutely argued with me, and I tried desperately to differentiate the fuel-injected narrative of his 3.6 Wrangler to what that world used to be when we put a low-degree thermostat in their vehicle.
Yep.
And he actually, I mean, got so incredibly upset. He was like a troll on the internet where he just popped off at the mouth and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I'm in person with him, and I'm like, we all just kind of like looked at each other and was like, I can't make you happy. Like, there's nothing I'm going to say.
Yep. And they did it for a multitude of reasons, but for this and
it's actually efficient. Your combustion rate, your ignition rate, everything is meant to happen between 220 and 224.
Yeah. And the nice benefit of it, you get better heat yet.
Correct. Our best heat yet.
And also,
unless that heater core gets plugged up.
And yes, when you have less heat out of your driver's side versus your passenger side, the first thing you think of is, oh, my little electric motor must have died.
We go back 20 years. We go back to what we used to know. We go back to what this guy was drawing his information
I
on.
would say that's 1% of the time. Those little motors are actually pretty robust and pretty good. And they learned a lot of things off of like the Ram platform and other models. If you've ever owned a second gen Ram and had heater problems, there's should be a counselor.
There's
just for that
a therapy support group for us.
It's terrible. But anyway, It is your heater core. Your heater core is plugging up, and it's just you're furthest from the core and you're furthest from the air motor, and that is what's causing your problem 90% of the time.
Hot take. If you think you are a person who has poor heat from your vehicle, stop, drop, and roll. Get some way to test the temperature of the air that's coming out of the passenger side.
Yep.
Far vent and the driver side far vent. Test.
The infrared thermometers work great for that. If
The
you have
infrared
one.
thermometer. They have these little clip-on thermometers at your local box store auto parts suppliers. All you got to do is just test the air that's coming out of those vents. If there is a 25 to 50 degree discrepancy, it is unquestionably your heater core. That's just what it comes down to. And so again, don't collect $200. Don't pass go. Don't change out the little electric motors or sensors or thermostats or water pumps or any of that kind of stuff. It's just your heater core.
And,
Giaga Jeepers real quick wants to know, what's the 3.6 supposed to run at? His bounces between 207 and 225.
Right there.
right there. That's pretty much dead
Yeah, I was
on.
going to say, I see them a lot at the 218 to 222 range. You have the challenge is, and this is a good creature comfort conversation, with the JK Wrangler also comes something called a PWM electric fan assembly. And I need people to understand that mechanical fans were not bad. And I'm not going to get into this because actually I could totally nerd out on that. But
We can
as
have
far
a
as
whole
creature comforts,
podcast and just.
I would love to talk to you until your eyes glaze over regarding fan technology over the last 100 years. But I digress. I will simply say that viscous fluid fans, mechanical fans, actually worked really darn well because the warmer or cooler they are, the viscous coil inside of it actually would.
He's talking about mechanical fans.
Mechanical fan.
Lost,
Yeah. Mechanical fans.
which were TJs and older.
Would, but not super old, would work a little faster or a little slower based on how warm the engine was, based on a mechanical coil that would tighten or loosen. When it comes to the JK, we had electric fans. We've always had electric fans. We, as the hot rod industry, we were really enamored with electric fans. We thought they were the answer to everything. The issue is they're not, for so many reasons. I'm not going to do it. Here's what I'll tell you. The PWM fan works like the viscous mechanical fans, and it can speed up or slow down based on the needs that the computer determines are necessary for your specific application. So the ambient air temperature, the internal coolant temperature, oil temperature, ignition, so on and so forth. It can speed up and slow down that fan and almost a rheostat application uniquely for every single Jeep. It's like a fingerprint. Your fan spins unique to you and your Jeep.
And again, they learned a lot of things from the WJ on how not to do electric fans,
Absolutely.
and really screwed the pooch on WJ fans.
Yes.
On accessibility and the way they manufactured and everything. And by the time the JK came around, they had learned some things and did better.
Great.
And I'm
Great
sorry
technology.
for the WJ people. Just put a mechanical fan on your Jeep already and forget.
And now
because
we're getting to the point that it's time for a 2-minute wrap up.
No.
Yeah. You could do another episode.
No. I want to say one more thing about PWM fans because I'm on my soapbox. PWM fans are incredible technology and well made on Chrysler's behalf.
They are.
And we have a few customers and I've, and they're listeners. So it's great. If you have killed a PWM fan, if you have killed a new modern era fan, that is because you've done some nasty things to your Jeep. You own it.
The radiator is full of mud.
The radiator is full of mud. You have ran the Jeep over hot, or you've done some electrical wiring that has shorted stuff out.
Or you forgot to hook up a certain wire on the battery when you changed the battery.
That too. So or you've got it filled with red rock dust and
That too.
smoked the motor. So there's part of our creature comfort, because now the fans, again, as far as electric fans go and everything, we don't want that heat to come off the engine. We want the engine to come up to temperature faster, which is also why I'm okay with you warming up your vehicle, because that fan's not going to start and run. We're going to warm up the vehicle. We're going to start that fluid moving through the system.
So it's also important to note there is a little fallacy, I will say.
Please tell me you're talking about thermostats.
No.
Okay. God,
That
Jeff, don't
I
keep us on track.
I heard when 3.6s came out, they had casting sand in them and they plugged up your heater core.
I did hear that.
You know what the honest truth is? There's almost no coolant capacity in the block of a 3.6.
Yeah,
it's like a half an inch to an inch.
Yeah, it's
as
nothing.
it. So if you're going to talk about that, it's in the heads, if anything.
Right.
And I don't really believe that. I think it's just the fact that our cores are smaller and they just get heart attacks. I think we should start using that.
Jeep heart attacks.
Jeep heart attacks.
That's what we could have named this.
So anyway, on to thermostats, because I know he really wants to talk about that. There is a whole, we could have a whole podcast on thermostats. There is still some old guy.
Nobody would watch or listen, but Scott and I would just talk to each
I was
other.
going to say, it actually might be a good topic because of the installation of them, and there's a proper way to do it. And
Well, there's an old guy somewhere saying we don't need no thermostat. My Circle Track car ran cooler without a thermostat. And
Sure
yeah,
did.
if you go out for 2 laps, it will.
Yep.
But the problem is if you eliminate your thermostat, is your radiator gets hot, your motor gets hot, and now there's no exchange. And I think the easiest way to explain this is how air conditioning works is that there is an exchange of air. You are taking hot air and you are moving it outside and you're bringing in cool. And I'm not going to go into the thermodynamics of it, but then the
like that. That
basic
was a good
thing
one.
is
Yep.
kind of what it works. And if your motor cannot exchange air, then it's not going to get cool. And why that happens is somebody's going to be like, well, you have a radiator and it's cooling it down. The water has to be in the radiator at a certain amount of time.
Long enough
to
for it
cool
to cool
off.
down.
And the thermostat is a shut-off valve. It is a one-way, basically an on-off valve that allows that water to sit in the radiator and cool off. And then when you reach a temperature in the motor, you exchange, and the hot water goes out of the motor into the radiator. The cool water comes in. It cools down the engine. That is the basics of how that works. And yes, there is different ways of installing thermostats. There's also different ways of getting air out of your system when you've changed the thermostat. And something that got really challenging with the 3.8 and newer Jeeps is it's not like a 4-liter where you can just change the thermostat in your backyard and expect it to the burp itself and it work. Because of, and not so much for the 3.8, we still have a standard flow as like the
Within
4-liter
reason.
was. It's still harder to get the air out of it. And then you get into the 3.6 JK. It is very hard.
I think that the 3.8 has challenges more so because of the smaller cavities at which you're speaking. Our water jackets within the block, our tubes within our heater core system, those things are just simply smaller. And so our ability to get air out of those little areas, and a little bit of air makes more air. Now, I know that continuations are not always our best for this particular program, but I think we have to say there's going to be a part 2 because we did not really even get to talk about burping systems and
Heated
air
steering
locks,
wheels.
heated steering wheels, heated seats, and we didn't even progress into our JKJLs, which cold weather group changes my life yet again. And so I think we have to leave you on that, folks, as far as our ability to fit within the constraints of this growing
Sorry we
podcast.
left you wanting.
I hope that we left you wanting. And of course, if you're interested, if you're
I think what we have to do is we just can't do it next episode. We have to we have to split it up.
Dun, dun, dun.
there it is.
If you're interested in knowing what we did over the weekend and how we contemplated life,
You should, because it's going to be a banger.
Oh,
We got a lot of stuff that's the update.
Oh, gracious. Stay tuned after the outro scene here, which I didn't do super well last week. But don't worry, Scott went ahead and do for us.
I know. I really just want to make him do that again because going back and listening as I was editing was awesome.
Additionally, because of our current celebratory success regarding the volume of downloads, please consider sharing this to somebody, or telling a friend about it, or encouraging a member in your Jeep club to listen, or just an automotive enthusiast who would like to get involved with, some guys nerding out
or if
over
you just
vehicles.
need some SMNR to fall asleep to. I mean, well, I'm here. I'll take it.
Anyways,
What abbreviation did he use? Because I want him to explain that to us. Until next time,
Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Do.
So,
Do you want to go?
sure.
Okay.
For the first time, and I don't even know how long, my car, the Model T, has a door that functions.
Oh,
And I actually was kind of retrospect because I was looking back at my post and I was like, for most people, this does not look like a big deal.
right. Considering you've made this out of a bunch of pieces that were just scattered about, scrap that nobody disregarded, that nobody wanted.
Yeah. I had no hinges when I got this body, and I was able to source some hinges. Hinges are really expensive, like $130 a piece, and there's 3 per
Get out
door.
of here.
And
Get out of here.
Absolutely. Go on eBay right now, look up 2627 Model T hinge, and someone is charging $130 for half of a hinge, and there's 2 halves, and there's 3 of them on the door.
No.
So you could put $1,000 in your hinges easy.
Yeah.
So I was able to find some old cast off hinges that need some love, need some bushing work and that kind of stuff. One thing I thought you would enjoy, they're made by Stanley.
No.
Yeah, they're literally stamped that in Canada. The specifically
so
ones
cool.
I got were from Canada.
I wonder what the year was that was the manner.
Well,
in which,
obviously 100 years ago, but anyway.
well, yeah. To look at Stanley and what they did over the years.
Yeah.
I look at some of these companies and how they.
I was actually surprised Ford didn't do
Diversify.
them in house.
Yeah.
The way he was, everything had to be in house. But anyway,
Yeah.
the other important note that I guess I didn't articulate well, and my people that are following along just kind of realized someone had cut these doors in pieces with a torch. The inner guts that hold like the window winder and the latch and all that stuff is missing. And they had then cut the tops off where your window opening off with a torch. And then they were like, that was a bad idea. Let me get my crappy welder and weld these back on, all out of shape, all out of place. And then to make it more challenging, I chopped the car. So now I'm actually chopping that off again and lowering it.
Right.
And spoiler alert, the top of the door is narrower than the bottom of the door. So then you have to make all that work. So I was actually feeling pretty good and pretty accomplished. The fact that all 3 hinges are hooked up, the door opens and shuts, the window opening looks appropriate. I was able to go in and kind of fix some of their mess ups. I don't know what I'm going to do about it, inner structure yet. Me being me, I want it to look like it's supposed to. I don't know why, because you're going to put a door panel on it. You're never going to see it. But that's me.
Of course.
That's a Scottism. But,
right.
Pretty excited. I got to do all the same things on the other side, and it's just as bad. It is a little better, like slightly, but still.
Yeah.
So that's my update. If you want to see the pictures of that, you can go on my Instagram, 1936 Ford Crazy, and follow along.
And of course, I have to ask: did you follow along with the golf game last night? Did you?
I did not.
Not even a lick.
Nope.
Not even saw if anybody shot a 3 or.
Nope. No, I wished
You didn't
everyone.
watch the commercials?
Nope. I
Oh.
wished everyone a good 18 holes, and honestly went to bed early.
Nice.
And we didn't even talk about any great Jeep commercials. I saw one online, a Cherokee commercial with the talking fish. And I didn't know, honestly, I would love for somebody to weigh in and tell me whether or not that was actually a real commercial. But basically
a bunch of people sending me that.
Yeah, so I wondered if that actually played last night. I didn't actually see it play during the Super Bowl, but I was in and out of the room pretty regularly because I had no vested interest in the Seahawks versus the Pats. So,
Same.
I know our friends from Crown Automotive based on the fact that they are from Boston. They were rooting for the Pats. But I guess I think
this is really good because I have no care or love for any sports balls. How did we get two teams that nobody gives a crap about to the Super Bowl?
Well, you know what? And I'm just this is to use this platform. If the NFL actually was scripted, this was a really crappy ending.
Say, this would not have been the Super Bowl.
This was not it. So this to me was the linchpin that broke the conversation, the conspiracy theory around the Super Bowl.
I heard all kinds of people on social media going like, I watched it because I have to.
Yeah.
I didn't give a crap
because I love football unconditionally. I watched it and we had fun as a family and we hype up what we can.
One of my relatives was like, well, at least there's people from Ohio State on both teams.
Yes. Yep.
And so either way, whoever wins, I can feel good that an Ohio State player won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Right. There was things like that. There was actually some 2 or 3 times removed from some of our customers. They knew guys on the team and whatnot. That's cool. Right. That human connection is cool. And as an opportunity for that to be, showcased, I am here for it. I can get hyped up on the little minutia of that game just as I can with like KOH was this weekend or past week and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I want to cry because Ford Racing actually won their division yet again. This is like the 4th time in a row. The Bronco has won the, I don't quote me, and maybe Rob Morgan can tell me, but, that Rob can tell me whether or not that was the stock modified class, but I think it is. Basically, you bring out just an over.
I want to throw up my mouth right now.
Yeah, that the Bronco won that class again. Now, how many entrants, all that kind of stuff.
How many motors did they put in it?
I don't know. I don't know. So there was that, and I tried. We had a customer friend of the business out there in person, sending me video, sending me pictures. Chocolate Thunder, the big run. I didn't see anybody lose fingers this year, so good. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Again, maybe Rob can weigh in and let us know. Sometimes he has a meeting he has to tune off before this. I personally took again 5 pounds, 10 pound sack.
He said ZJ on the podium.
It was a ZJ, but I want to know about the Bronco, the Ford Racing class. Is that the stock modified or not?
I mean, it would make sense if a ZJ beat the Bronco.
I'm okay. No, those are different classes. I'm okay with the ZJ stock class.
Not modified.
Okay. So yeah. But I think that should race against the Wrangler in that class, is my understanding. And
can't tell me a 2.7 whatever the hell eco.
I don't know. So that was definitely disappointing to see. As far as how other things played out, I continue to just, as almost a palette to play with, keep shoving this Rustington Jeep into the shape of a Jeep. I had fun kind of doing that over the past week, and I hope to maybe do something with it in some fashion. This Jeep I call it Rustington, and you would know why, because it's a tetanus shop waiting to happen. And it has just a bikini top and a bikini windjammer or a cloth windjammer. And I've quite enjoyed driving it this winter.
It's a 4-cylinder automatic TJ.
It's a 98 4-cylinder automatic TJ with a bikini top and a windjammer. And I have half doors.
So
but
he
up.
removed the only redeeming good quality of a TJ by removing the factory top.
That's true. I'm shaking my head in agreement. And I so thoroughly enjoy this dumb little Jeep that I'm really struggling because like I want to do little things to it, but it is so rusty. It is so nasty. And I like crawled around on it, like on the creeper over this weekend. And I was just like, there's like nothing to work with here. And I'm disappointed because I know that I went onto the marketplace and factually people are selling comparably crappy Jeeps for.
Well, it's probably a $3,500 Jeep.
That's exactly correct.
It's sad.
That is exactly correct. And I thought this thing should be turned into a pop can at this point.
Yeah.
And yet I can't bring myself to that. So what, of course, the next logical thing is to kind of tighten up the top a little bit and throw a different cool bumper on it.
So the big question is, will the 2.5 last his interest?
Yeah, and especially because the 2.5's got like a little bottom end knock to it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Like all 2.5 should.
Yeah. It's been soldiering along. So
Daddy Jeep did say one Bronco engine was changed before the race.
Color me surprised.
Color me surprised. The other piece that just as all of the peculiarities that are me in general, you'll see on my social. Was once again the sickness is running through my household. I think it pretty much started in October and it hasn't let go of us.
I was gonna say you guys have been
You're like
through the
round
ringer.
zero.
We are an incubator and we just keep passing it around to the four of us over and over and over again. And it's
I'm gonna get you guys multivitamins.
I actually went to Walmart and bought multivitamins more so than what we already take, and I'm throwing a Hail Mary of desperation at this point just to try and get a little bit healthy. Because once again, we had to bail on some plans. But that meant that I got to, did you see my charcuterie board?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
It just means I got to, make it in-house.
Amy said that you purchased a lot of stuff.
Aldi.
He refuses to get a cart though.
This is like me. So that's
just running through the store like
Pretty
that.
much.
That's exactly what I do. Jeff put his arms out like a barrel. So
I would have he wanted to get a step stool and I would have empowered him to do that if he had a cart.
So that is
there's
why,
no way he's going to carry that.
That
step
is
stool.
why. And so here, this is honest piece, right? So
You should have used the step stool as a shelf.
the challenge,
He could've.
it's fair.
We
right?
just happened
It's
to
fair.
get all at the
But
same time.
Apparently.
we did happen to be at Aldi at the exact same time. It was just fun coinky dink. But here's the thing, right? Because I just feel the need to say this out into the universe. A lot of people look in at the business right now and they go, well, these guys, this, that, and the third. And, they actually don't know anything. Okay. But the peculiarities that inspire me to rip heaters out to wheel in my bare feet so that I can be more intimate with the vehicle and to drive topless Jeeps in the winter, relatively speaking, also employ me when I go into the grocery store in order to not overspend, which these days is not hard. That is terrible. I literally refuse to get a cart. So I am that guy who goes through the grocery store and I fill up and I Tetris everything into my arms. And the moment that I drop something or that it becomes cumbersome, I check out. That is how
Your hold game is pretty high because Amy's like, you know how much Neil was able to spend without heading a cart?
Yep. And what
I
it
think he
was
spends more than I did, and I had a cart.
and what it was I left this little area, I don't even remember what it was, like specific little cracker area or whatever, and a bag fell off the top, and I just looked at it and like fell to the ground, and my arms are wadded up like this, and I'm like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? And this very helpful other patron of Aldi's came over.
Please tell me it was like a grandma.
No, young woman our age, put it back on top of my arms, and I said, well, time for me to check out. First drop. I have to go to the line. That's it. That's when I'm done. I can do no more. And I do that at Tractor Supply. I often do it at Harbor Freight. I will refuse to get a cart so that I have to be encumbered by the situation.
Yeah. So I was really shocked. What was the most important part of your Aldi trip?
Not seeing you. I got a duck.
You did?
And you know what?
I was shocked that I did not get a message.
So you didn't get a message intentionally because I was going to affirm you on the internets. But I don't participate in the duck game. I am rough around the edges. I'm
Made you
uncouth.
smile, didn't it?
I smiled. I walked out and I saw that dumb duck in my handle, and it's a little pirate duck. And I was like, in the back of my brain, I was like, "Arr!" And I don't know where I took the duck out of the handle. I put it somewhere in the Jeep. We'll give it to somebody else, which is my wife and my MO. We keep one or two special ones, as I've mentioned before. Yep. I'm not. I am not by any stretch of the imagination anti-duck. I just don't participate in the game. I appreciate people who do.
I don't purchase ducks. I re-duck.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'm with you. And of course, because there was, because Scott was at the Aldi's as well, I had to park next to him because Jeeps have to park next to each other. This is real. This is just really who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I came out to Jeep, just who really you are, you had friggin' ducked my Jeep. And I was just like, you know what? I smiled. And I just thought, that's fun. How people get upset over this boggles my mind. If that's you, if you get upset, you know what? That's fine. I hope the best for you. But I smiled. I put the duck somewhere in the Jeep. I couldn't tell you where. I'm going to give it to somebody else. It'll be fine. But yes, that was super fun.
I was like literally driving down the road from there thinking, how long will it be before I get a message?
Don't worry. I took a picture so that I can
send it to Jen.
Nope. So that I can just do it, public
okay.
thing. You know what I mean? But just wasn't in the cards at that time. You're right. I did get ducked.
That's fun.
That there, Aldi. Anyways, Jeffrey, bring us home because we are at this point.
Yeah, so I have been working on a deal in Erie, and as of last week, I closed on that deal, and I have. I'm leaving the team. I'll still be here for podcasts. I saw Kevin made a comment about he's going to miss me on Mondays. I'm still going to be here doing podcasting, but other than that, I will now be a part owner and the general manager of a restaurant bar that is located in downtown Erie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
congratulations.
In true almost Scott fashion, he accidentally bought a bar and grill.
Yeah, accidentally bought it. Yeah, that's the best way to summarize what happened.
Fair.
I'm not revealing what the location is publicly yet, but for those that know, it's kind of that kind of thing. But it is the deal's done. Now there's a lot of work to be done before we relaunch and get out there and get it open again. So
that's how you're looking for some applicants.
Lots of applicants. I'm looking for basically all positions that you would need in a restaurant. So front of house, back of house, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're restaffing the whole thing. Keeping a couple key people on that were there previously, but otherwise it's all fresh staff. So
Nathan asked if it would be a Jeep themed bar. Not at this time.
No. But I do have several people reaching out saying they want to do Jeep night once it's open. So keep an eye for that, I guess.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, and we wish you the best of luck. And we strongly, everybody, has asked, or our intention is to maintain our podcast trajectory.
Yes.
There's been a lot of energy and resource and personal volition that has been invested over the years in this process for both SFJ and for us as individuals. And our ability to relate to our listeners in this way is defining this business. And so we're thankful that you're wanting to maintain that. You appreciate that as well. Likewise, we wish you the best in this experience. Look forward to actually you doing the reveal and us being able to support that publicly. Obviously, we've been trying to support you internally, and we are sad to see you go in that full-time capacity. But, as luck would have it, Mondays seem like you should be able to continue in kind of a serendipitous, luck would have it situation.
Yep.
So
And-
we'll take it. Happy accident.
And as it gets warmer, he's also committed to helping me finish this.
He's going to continue to say that so that our audience keeps you accountable.
So you will get more Jeff the Builder updates.
What you all learned is Scott doesn't actually care that I'm leaving the team. He cares that I continue to help his building.
It's just important.
Truer words have never been spoken. Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.